Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carl. I'm a recovery coach here at Capra Recovery Center. This is our coffee and conversation meeting for the day. This article is by brcrecovery.com. So if you like this article, you can go to brcrecovery.com. So the article I have here is improving your communication in recovery. We'll start into it. Recovery depends on communication, being able to express yourself openly and honestly and to have a real conversation can make a significant difference in the quality of your recovery efforts. Improving your communication in recovery is necessary to ensure that you are conveying your message effectively so that others truly understand your words are powerful, your body language and tone of voice are powerful. All of those combine to provide you the opportunity to improve your communication, to engage in a positive manner with friends and family throughout your recovery. So it's very important, I think, in not just in recovery, but in life in general. Communication is, healthy communication is very important. Um, 'Cause I remember in active addiction, like my communication skills weren't healthy. Like it was out of anger, frustration, and I learned in recovery, like even like your body language, your tone, your posture, that things of communication can mean some negative stuff, how you act in recovery or in active addiction. Like that all applies to healthy communication. So you have to watch your tone of voice, your posture, your face, your facial expressions. That all means a lot in recovery. So we'll go to communication challenges. Fear is a huge challenge when attempting to communicate with others. While recovery, you may fear being judged. If you open up to others, you may fear a relapse, or you may have a fear of feeling like fraud and being discovered. If your communications are not taken well or are misunderstood, so you are just by simply not communicating. Isolation and an addiction can cause a person to actually lose the ability to communicate well. Being able to articulate your feelings is a skill. You may have lost when in depths of addiction. You may not be able to express your frustration and anger into a constructive way, and that will just exacerbate the situation for you and for those around you. Improving your communication in recovery can help you work through these fears. Being able to talk to others, whether family, friends, therapists, or recovery group members, is vital to your continued well being. Communication can be a challenge, all depending on family members, your peers, your coworkers, whoever the case may be. But it's really important. Like, man, I had no communication skills in that addiction. It was always, like I said, out of anger, frustration. Um, it was all about me and what I wanted, and since I've been in recovery, I learned new things and learned about myself, what I can say and what I can't say. Because sometimes me not saying some things can be better off than me saying some stuff. So, it's just, I mean, recovery for me and healthy communication is very important. And I start to learn about uh, how to express myself. That's one thing I couldn't do um, in active addiction. I didn't know how to express my emotions and feelings. I'd rather stuff them with drugs and alcohol than expressing how I really feel out of fear, out of frustration, out of anger. Um, it's something I had to do um, since I've been in recovery. It's better of me communicating with, I'm in a 12-step fellowship with a sponsor, a therapist, a counselor. So there's things that I do for my recovery, and like I have to communicate how I'm really feeling. I don't have to do that with everybody, but I have to do that with somebody. I can't do this alone. I tried, it didn't work out for me. So if I express myself, even if it sounds crazy, even if I think I'm going to be judged or I fear that I'm going to look at different, I have to open up. I have to be honest, and express myself in a healthy way to like get better. Next part here we have, let's see, the importance of honesty. You may have had to lie at some point in your addiction. Lie to yourself and to others. You had to lie to get drugs, to cover up the fact that you were using drugs, and to deny the consequences within your own mind. Improving your communication and recovery depends on your ability to be honest. Understand that people in your life want you to be honest with them. Tell them when you are hurting, when their words or actions have hurt you, when you are tempted to relapse, what fears you face, and any other messages you sincerely feel a need to convey. Open communication is the only way they will know what's going on inside you, and the only way they will recognize how they can be better support for you. And so, like a lot of times, right? Yes, I have to be honest, but honesty and being brutally honest is two different things, right? And that's one thing I learned in recovery too. Is yes, it's great to be honest, but is it going to hurt somebody too? I have to think about that, right? We don't think about that in active addiction. It's like, yeah, being honest, but I'm hurting your feelings and emotions, and like I'm causing harm being honest. So sometimes things are better left unsaid, right? But I do have to be honest. I have to be open. I have to be honest. I have not just honest with everybody, but I have to be honest with somebody. And truly, I have to be honest with myself. That's most importantly. Put these things down. I see there's a few people online here. Welcome, guys. I see Lisa, Eric. Thank you guys for showing up.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. It's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you guys getting hours and stuff for this so I can write your names down?
Yes, we're
Yes.
trying.
Trying to.
Perfect, perfect. So this is our coffee and conversation meeting, and it's improving your communication and recovery. That's one thing I didn't have in active addiction, right? Didn't have good coping skills, healthy communication. I didn't have boundaries. I didn't have self-respect, none of that stuff. And since I've been in recovery, there's things we have to work on and improve. I still, on a daily basis, I have to improve my communication skills, right? And I have to remind myself that because, right, I'm a fiance, I'm a brother, I'm a son, I'm a good coworker, stuff like that. So I have to remind myself I'm a productive member of society. I can't be acting in my own ways. And it's active change in our actions or behaviors and our thinking is very important. What you say and how you say it. I live by this stuff. You gotta watch what you say and how you say it because we can take things the wrong way. Don't assume that other people know what you're talking about when you communicate with them. Those who have not been inside your world of addiction may not understand some of the slang terms you have used on a daily basis. Previously, miscommunication typically stems from misunderstanding us clear terms, and be patient with those who question what you are saying. They may just need a little clarification. Often is not the words, but the tone of your voice. That impacts communication. You may get frustrated in trying to express yourself, and that can come out in the way you say something. It is challenging to express fear, frustration, anger, and other negative feelings in a way that does not come across as completely negative. Take a breath, consider your words carefully, and then have a calm and rational conversation to ensure the situation does not escalate beyond your original intentions. Yeah, it's not what you say, it's sometimes how you say it. I live by that sometimes. Because whatever you're saying might be valid and it might be true and it might help you, but your tone of your voice and your body language can say otherwise. So I'm not focusing on what you're saying, right? I'm focused on your tone of voice and your body language, and it's just putting me off. And I'm just getting frustrated, and I'm getting angry, I'm getting upset. And that's sometimes some people or have a different tone of voice or say things differently, and we can take it and perceive it in a negative way. But maybe that's just them. I gotta remind myself that's how they are. And we can take it personal. We can personalize things, and I can still do that to this day. Personalize things like it's personally towards me. And that can put a bad taste in my mouth. All through recovery, I learned these things about myself, and I have to find a better outlet how I react. I can't suppress my emotions and feelings. I can't say stop. I can't have them emotions and feelings. That's not possible. They come and go, right? It's just how I react and how do I deal with these emotions and feelings when they do come. Do I act out? Do I say things? Do I, do things that I ain't supposed to be doing? I have to remind myself it's about active change. How I react, how do I respond? Because I learned that too in recovery. Respond and react is two different things. Let's go to nonverbal cues. Just as the tone of your voice, body language can betray your words. Improving your communication in recovery also requires that you become more aware of your facial expressions and the way you sit or stand when communicating with others. Relax your body and hold your head up. When speaking, maintain appropriate and eye contact. Control the urge to sneer or roll your eyes when a negative thought crosses your mind. Focus on your strength and let your body language follow. Yeah, the body language is very true. I think I touched on a little bit earlier. It's people can say stuff and sounds good and it's valid, but the way you're not looking at somebody, not keeping eye contact, looking this way, not paying attention, I'll take that as disrespect. You're not paying attention, you're not listening. That can just be off-putting. So I have to remind myself, what am I doing today? How am I acting? Am I paying attention? Because I can take it as disrespect, or you're not taking my emotions and feelings in consideration. I don't think my things are valid because you're not. And you ever get somebody that's always talking, right? And you try to talk and respond, and they just talk over you. I hate that. I really, it upsets me. I mean, I can feel myself getting upset. It's I'm listening to you and you're talking, but then when I respond, you just don't listen and talk over me. That's just, to me, it's a sign of disrespect. I'm willing to listen to you, or you willing to listen to me? So, hey, and that's another thing. I get to find out about myself. That's how I get to find out what I like and what I don't like. Let's go to listening is a communication skill. Yeah, so we don't have to always talk. We can listen also. We sometimes think of communication as what we say or write to others. However, listening is a key component of communication, particularly in recovery. Not listening with intent can lead to misunderstanding, which again leads to frustration. Practice your listening skills by focusing on the words being conveyed by the other person. Observe their body language. Don't interrupt them. Put aside thoughts of what you are going to say next and truly listen to what they are saying in the moment. Then you can respond appropriately with intent. That was the end of that one. But yeah, listening is a communication skill. If I'm always talking, right, and always expressing my opinions and always saying what's going on with me, but I'm not willing to listen to you, I really don't want to tell you the truth, have you in my circle. I don't want to have you as a person I can trust or talk to because you're always talking and you're not willing to listen. It's just healthy, I want to say healthy communication and a healthy relationship goes both ways. I'm here for you and you're here for me. And it should be like that. It shouldn't be always 30, 70%. It should be a 50-50 ordeal. But sometimes what I learned in recovery too is when I have a loved one or a friend or a partner or whatever, sometimes I have to take it on that extra 70% or whatever it is because you need help that day, right? And hopefully you can do that for me too. I can pick up the slack, which is a great thing, you know. We'll go to communication skills. So that's a good one. Communication skills. It says, when you were in the midst of active addiction, your family and friends probably weren't able to keep up. It's very common for an addict person to disappear for days at a time with no explanation, ignoring phone calls, forgetting all about their commitments along the way. You became so caught up in the cycle of finding, using, and recovering from drugs that communication fell by the wayside. Now that you're sober, it's time to become a better steward of your relationships. A large portion of this is learning how to build trust and improve in communication and recovery. Yeah, I was absent from everybody. I was isolated from my family, my friends. There was very little communication. It was like on my terms, or if I needed something, right, I was lost in the grips of addiction, and you know, my mom and my parents and my family, it was hopefully they didn't get that call of me being dead. I didn't care of them worrying about my well-being, which is sad. I didn't have everything was about drugs and alcohol and about self-centeredness and selfishness. The little communication I did have with them, it was I needed something or I wanted something from them. So I had to learn to have open communication skills since I've been in recovery. And like, it's a great thing because my mom, my family, and my friends don't worry about me today. They knew where I'm at. They had my phone number. They check up on me and I check up on them. So it's good to have that healthy communication and, check up on somebody. You never know how somebody's going, how their day is going. So communication and trust. In order for any relationship to exist, we must focus on building trust. Clear, honest communication is the surest path to bonding with someone. Learn that we can rely on them when we need help, that they tell us what is going on in their lives, and that they are someone on whom we can rely. The more confidence that you have in another person's honesty, the more likely you are to become close to them. When you remember that substance abuse often results in lying, stealing, and uncertainty, it's easy to see why an addict person becomes or needs to do a complete 180 in how they communicate after treatment. Deception that characterized addiction can create lasting damage to your relationships. By regularly checking in with your loved ones and focus on having meaningful conversations, you can gradually work to rebuild the trust that may have been lost along the way. Here are some of the top tips for better communication and recovery. Communication and trust. Yeah, that's a big one. So for me in active addiction, there was no trust, right? And to rebuild that, it took time, and it still takes time, right? It changes for everyone because everyone's different. Some bridges and are burnt down, and that we can't ever rebuild. Some of the relationships are just gone in the wind, as they say, and it's sad. But a lot of times they can be rebuilt, and thank God for me personally. Like all my relationships are like rebuilt, and that's not from me always voicing of like I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. It was speaking by my actions. It was by me putting the footwork in. Yes, I apologize and make a verbally amends, but the big thing is putting the action behind it. Right? Not repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Saying I'm sorry, but not, really living what I'm saying, speaking really, I just had to show that they were tired of the lies, the deceitfulness, the manipulation, just the overall griminess that I was pulling over on them, that I just had to do something different, I just stopped running my mouth and like put the footwork in, and they came around, and they started trusting me. Like when I first got in recovery, it was pretty crazy because like I didn't even have a key to my house at the time, but the people in my fellowship and my support group, like I had a key to the church of like where I had a commitment at. So like, like I started building trust little by little, and then I got a key to my house and this happens and this happens. Little things, small victories, small things, it started boosting my confidence of like, I can really stay clean. I can really do this, like it took time and didn't happen overnight and didn't happen when I wanted it. Right. But like I stayed in position and kept doing the right next thing for the right reason. And like my trust rebuilt throughout the process of recovery. And like some of the stuff that, relationships that I didn't regain, like that's where acceptance comes in. Like, I'm like okay with that. I accept that. I'm not okay with it, but I accept, where some people, where they're at, I've accepted my responsibility, what I've done. So, trust is a big thing, and I live by trust today. So here's one of the coping skills: learning to listen. Active listening is a valuable skill for everyone. That's where active listening. So like that goes along with your body posture and my looking in your eyes and talking with you. It's actively listening. How am I, communicating with you? Active listening is a valuable skill for everyone, but it's especially crucial for those who are in early recovery. Often we may find ourselves feeling defensive in the midst of a heated discussion. In those instances, we may stop listening to or begin to form what's this word here? What is it?
Counter argument.
Counter argument. Thank you. While the other person is speaking, learn to pivot from these negative behaviors to more constructive styles of communication skills or keys. I'm sorry. Yeah, learn to listen. That's active listening, man. Go a long way. You can become a better listener by paying close attention to what the other person says. Show them that you're engaged in what they are saying by nodding along and smiling. Avoid interrupting. Instead, wait until they fully complete their thought before responding. If you follow these tips, you should improve your listening skills significantly. I like that. Yeah, wait until somebody finished their conversation or their sentences before you cut them off. Like I said earlier, like I still get upset about that. I think anybody would. It's just about respect. It's about active listening. If you're willing to listen, I'm here. I'm here. But like, if you're not willing, then it's like, what am I doing here? So understanding. Let's see here. Understanding how you come across. Discovering how others perceive you is a challenge task. Many people who have gone through addiction and recovery believe that they are wholly independent and that others' opinions do not matter. While you should base all of your choices on what everyone else thinks, it's important to consider how you come across in any social interaction. Nonverbal cues, for example, are incredibly important when talking about communication. Your voice, tone, and body language can change the meaning of your words. If you are working on your one-on-one conversation skills, consider the following: facial expressions. Are you smiling or rolling your eyes? And all-time eyebrow raise and can indicate skepticism. When you really were trying to convey interest, pay attention to the faces you make. That's a good one. Yeah, right? Eye contact. Are you looking at the other person when you speak with them? While repeatedly glancing away can make someone feel that you are nervous. Staring without breaking eye contact can also be disconcerting. Experts say you should try maintaining an interest gaze, then breaking it from time to time. I think they're trying to say, well, in life in general, but like in early recovery, like we're we're fogged up, we're lost, we're confused, we're sad, angry, depressed, full of anxiety. So like when it's crucial when you're interacting with people in early recovery, like that can they can take that in a real wrong way of you not paying attention, or like we take it we personalize things. They ain't listening to me. They're not paying attention. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna talk with them. So it's very important, especially in early recovery, like how our facial expressions, eye contact, and this next one is tone. The way you say something can be more important than what you're saying. If others frequently misunderstand your meaning, think about whether you should sound earnest, sound earnest. Is that what that is? Okay. Sincere and open-minded in the moment. Sometimes I read these things like, is these words really in here?
It's like an old-fashioned word right there.
Yeah, tone of a voice. That's big with me too. You gotta watch your tone. Do we get loud? Some people are just loud. Who's loud and who's not. But when you like raise your voice and stuff like that, people suffer from trauma. Your tone of voice can set somebody off trigger wise. So we really gotta watch what we do in recovery. Appearance and grooming. Yes, your aesthetics can also play a role in how you're perceived. We are not here to recommend that you seek out a personal stylist, rather to simply be sure that you are taking care of yourself and your clothing. Yeah, appearance. So I can't come to work, dressing crazy, right? So I have to dress presentable. And that can be sense of judgment. If somebody's on the street and they're dressed a certain way, they're gonna be like, "Oh, this guy, I'm not gonna listen to him, or I ain't gonna talk to him." So we can get very judgmental. So we gotta watch that also. It will stop on this last one here. It is not taking anything personally. And I gotta remind myself of this too. Yep, I can take things personally and I can get frustrated, I can get angry. It's a learning process. Recovery is a learning process. Addiction makes people more sensitive to criticism. This partly because fear is at the root of most substance abuse. Many group sessions focus on learning to hear, critique, pause from reflection, decide what to change, and avoid thinking of those statements as personal attacks. When you take things too personally, you are focusing on the wrong parts of the conversation. It's true. They're mad at me, or they think I always mess things up. In reality, your loved ones are probably not trying to tear you down. They may just be concerned. When you learn to separate yourself from a statement, you give others the benefit of the doubt and improve your communication. And you know what? You gotta watch, because right here, let me see, where is this? In reality, your loved ones are probably not tearing you down. And a lot of them probably not, but some will. Some will. So I have to focus on my part and how I react and how do I communicate that, I'm taking this personally, and open up about that. It's like, well, I'm taking this kind of personal. Are you trying to like help me, or are you trying to belittle me? Because we can personalize things, and we don't, sometimes we can't spot that kind of stuff. So open communication can, say, hey, I feel this way about this, can we talk about this? You know what I mean? And sometimes we're not willing to do that, so, but it does go a lot smoother sometimes, but it can be better off on like, oh, I did my part. So I like this article. I put like two articles together. So, because the one was short, but that was our coffee conversation and meeting today. I appreciate you guys showing up. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Eric. Thank you guys, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I did write you guys' names down here.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So I understand. I've been in sobriety for going on 5-6 years now. I don't even remember. But my major hang up is my mental sobriety. The mental sobriety of the shit that I did when I was in my active addiction.
Yeah.
And the shit I did it to, sorry about my language, but the
Okay.
stuff that I did to the people that I loved. that's the hardest part of my recovery right now is the mental,
Yeah,
because we have our ups and downs in recovery all the time, but the mental that comes up and creeps up on you while you're sleeping or when you least expect it, that triggers not talking professionally, not talking, looking at eye to eye, because there's sometimes when I'm having a conversation with somebody that I hurt, my eyes will go down, my head will go down, the shame will set in,
yeah,
and then I'm by myself and I'm beating myself up like, dude, today you don't need to be like that.
right.
It's okay to make amends for the bridges. You're building the bridges back up, but you don't have to be ashamed anymore.
Mm-mm.
That's my biggest hang up in recovery is
Yeah.
my mental stability, my mental recovery.
That shame and guilt.
Because I was a shady fucker when I was out there. I'm sorry about my language, but I was shady.
Me too.
I did some real shady stuff to people.
Yeah. And I think as addicts and in recovery, man, like I don't think one addict that we know that haven't done shady stuff. So you're not alone. That's another thing that I found out in recovery that made me accept myself and accept the things I've done is because I'm not alone. You're just like me, and I'm just like you. You know what I mean? So I'm not worst of the worst, what I thought I was. You know what I mean? That shame and guilt can still arise. That's why I have support group. I go to
Right.
a fellowship. I have a therapist. I got a sponsor. I do go. There's things that I have, so I deal with this guilt and shame. And listen, you're rebuilding these relationships, and that's okay to feel guilty and shameful because we've done things, but we don't have to live there.
Right.
We don't have to live. We don't have to stay there. It's okay to feel it, but we don't have to stay there. We're not that person no more. We're not that no more. So it's a healing and dealing process and recovery. It just doesn't go away.
And like, the things that have happened to me that beyond my control from other people, that's a thing too, because that all tangles in together with all the chaos that I'm trying to avoid.
You sure does. It
You know
sure-
what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's where acceptance and letting go is. It's
Right.
just, things that we done and things we done to people. It's a process, and like I said, we don't have to live there. We really don't. We can visit it, and it sucks. But like,
Yeah,
we
it does.
don't stay stuck. We don't have to stay stuck, man.
Right.
Like I said, if we stay there, it will fester, and we can push us backwards. Mentally, not even like about using drugs and alcohol, right? That's the main factor, but like that can make our spirit not feel too good.
Yeah, because I've noticed throughout the years when I've had little relapses or with slip ups or whatever, it always starts with the mental.
Yeah,
It always start. It doesn't. I don't just say, I'm happy. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm gonna go have a drink." It's the shit that comes up and creeps up from out of nowhere when I'm having the best days of my life or the weeks of my life or the months of my life. And then all of a sudden, that one little grain of salt or that little mustard seed that gets planted in your brain,
yeah,
and it just overwhelmingly just turns into mush, like like instantly.
yeah.
And then I'll sit there and I'll fester in it like an open wound.
And I was gonna just say that to you. I was like, because there's factors, right? We're always prone to relapse. That's always a factor. It doesn't have to be.
Right.
Today, that can be all a factor. What am I doing when this stuff festers up? Am I
Right.
telling somebody? Right? Am I telling on myself? We're talking about communication. We have to communicate. No matter how crazy it sounds, right? We have to communicate and say, "Hey, this is how I feel." I'm starting to have urges, or I'm going to read. I have to open up. I have to tell on myself. That's one thing you probably didn't do because right. You know what I mean. So there's things we put in place. So when these things happen, now I'll call somebody right in the middle of the night. I don't care what time it is. I'm calling my sponsor. I'm calling another recovering addict. I need help. My butt
Right.
on fire, you know? So I have to do what's necessary for my recovery. I don't want to die. I don't want to relapse. So there's things you learn in recovery. What, I put my plan in place, you know?
It's like trying to take the street out of this old brain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like well, living on the street. We never ratted. We never tell on nobody. We did. You know what I mean? We had a code. We had a code amongst a bunch of bull BS. You know what I mean? But even when we broke that code, it was like, who cares? Because we're all getting high together,
Yeah.
and it'll come around, it'll go around. But in sobriety, it's like if I do something against somebody else, like, and not intentionally, but just because sometimes I can be an a-hole,
Yeah.
you know, but I instantly feel that. I feel the pain when I see somebody's face get overtaken by a comment or something that I said because of a tone that I might have given.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like fear or mistrust or anything, like any of them things that happen to come up in recovery, that our loved ones that I burnt the bridges with will pick up on it before I will even think about it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? Nothing. Why? You don't look right, or you're not acting right, or but inside, instead of sitting there and saying, hey man, I'm really going through some shit right now and I don't know how to act about it. And I just fester and fester and fester because I'm so used to taking care of myself.
Yeah.
I don't like asking for help. You know,
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm an only child, so I had to do for myself all
And
my
I
life.
tell you that too, Eric. A lot of things it stems from being a kid. And we're like a lot of times we're like misinformed.
Right.
We gotta grow up on our own. Like you talk about the street code, like nobody rats, nobody tells. This is how we're living. It's ingrained in us. So we have to break these old habits. We have to break that street life, and it's hard. Listen, it's a process. Some things leave me more than quicker than they will leave you. We all have stuff to work on. As long as we keep moving forward and we work on these things, we open up and communicate how we're really feeling, we got a shot. Like we don't have to stay stuck.
Right.
But yeah, I get it. I understand because listen, we're the same. We're definitely the same.
Okay.
So that was some good stuff, man. I hope I'll see you guys again on these meetings.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like these little.
We're located right here in Bristol, 72 North Pearl Street. We have it in person and virtually. It's more than welcome to always come in here. Always.
Okay, cool. Okay, awesome.
We have other meetings, AA meetings, NA meetings, our meetings here.
What's this man in training?
Men in training. So there's topics that we have here. This is our coffee conversation meeting. It's just basically off of topics, and we'll print out some literature and we'll go over it, read it, and we'll discuss it.
Okay.
Yeah, men in training. We have that also. We have a family meeting, Freedom Fridays. So it's just basically off topics, but we print some stuff out and we go over it and read it like we just did today.
All right, cool. I might check out that men in training.
Things like this, like don't print out some literature, been in recovery or whatever, and we'll go over it. It's not always on topic, but we try to keep it on topic.
Is that something like authentic manhood?
I'm not sure what that is.
Okay.
Not sure what that is. But we just basically, like I said, we go on the internet and we like print out some stuff and go over it, read it.
What I was getting at is it's all a men's group, or
no,
obviously.
everybody's welcome.
Okay.
Everybody's welcome.
Okay. Men meaning as in men of the world.
Sure.
I thought it was like just a private men's group.
No, it don't have to be,
Is it often though?
Yeah, we have it once a week.
I mean, is it often just men? Like,
Yeah, sometimes we're bad, but all is welcome. We don't exclude nobody, But we're welcome to always come in, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, I've been trying to get this internship done over at Rowan.
Okay.
The peer recovery and community healthcare worker because I used to work over at ARS as a navigator. Left there to be a forklift driver, and it's not what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to give back to the community that helped me get sober. I'm
That's
a lifetime resident of Vineland, and I got sober from Maryville back in 2019.
nice.
So I want, and there's, I want to keep it in an area.
Yeah, I get it.
So
Giving back.
yeah, absolutely, man. Because listen, at this run around, I don't have my mom. I lost my mom to cancer, and my dad, he passed on. So it's like I'm the only one out here now. I'm trying to teach my kid not to do the same shit that I did.
Right. I get it.
Breaking that
back to the
cycle and
community.
educating myself.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I just cannot drink or do drugs. That's not for me. That's no longer part of my life. But I will educate myself and help other people if they need it.
I like it. I like it,
You know what I
Eric.
mean?
All right. Well, you guys have a great day, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
All right, absolutely. Have a good day.
Yeah, guys, you have a good day.
Thank
Bye,
you.
ladies.